News, Francis Ngannou has just signed what looks like to be a multi-fight deal with PFL, the Professional Fighting League. Priest, give me your thoughts on this. What does this do for Francis? What does this do for MMA? Give me your thoughts.
Feels good to have Francis Ngannou back in the MMA loop and cycle. And I think it's good for him. He's going to go out there and make the money that he wants. And he's expanding PFL and mixed martial arts to Africa, which is absolutely phenomenal. Good for him. Expand the sport of mixed martial arts across the world. Get as many new eyes and people on it. But in terms of legacy, I think it's destroying him, man. I think it's destroying him. He wanted $10 million to fight Jon Jones. Think about it. If he's still in the UFC after he fights Cyril Gane, fights 2 or 3 more fighters, then has that opportunity to fight the greatest heavyweight and fighter of all time, Jon Jones, and you're going to turn it down? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy to me that the PFL doesn't even have a direction for Francis Ngannou. Like, is he going to fight in the seasons? Is he just going to fight pay-per-view alone? Is he going to fight at all? The PFL's also signed Jake Paul. Yeah. And so you have no real direction with Francis Ngannou. And I just think he's going to have a hard time getting fights in PFL as well. I mean, in his contract, they literally say that each opponent that Francis Ngannou fights makes a base salary of $2 million.
That's crazy.
A base salary. That's before a negotiating hire. That's before sponsorships. That's before a lot of things. And that tells me that he can't get fights. But then you look at the UFC. You have 10 guys in the heavyweight division alone that would fight Francis Ngannou today for that UFC title for $0. And that's the difference between fighting in the UFC and fighting in the PFL. I think PFL is good. I think it's doing great things. Don't get me wrong, but you're going to leave the greatest MMA promotion with the genius of Dana White and how he promotes a fighter and promotes a fight just to go make $10 million a fight that you could have already made by now. And it's mind-blowing. And he literally just blew away the opportunity to have one of the biggest mega fights of all time against Jon Jones. That could have been top 5 pay-per-view buys of all time. That's Conor McGregor level. And he threw that away because he wanted $10 million per fight. You could have made that already. So it's really aggravating to me that he did that because it tarnished his legacy. And he's already coming out saying, oh, I'm the baddest MFer in the world. I'm the best heavyweight of all time. And Jon Jones responded and goes, yeah, easy to say from across the street. Because he's not in the UFC anymore. You can't claim that you are the greatest of all time when you haven't beat the greatest of all time.
And have only one title defense. Look at Jon Jones. He's had over 15 plus title defenses. He's the greatest of all time. And I think it's crazy because if you're Francis Ngannou, wouldn't you want to be the greatest of all time? Gosh, dude, it's crazy.
And I get it. I am a huge advocate. Pay the fighters, man, what they do to get into that ring or to get into that octagon, boxing, MMA, whatever. They put their bodies and lives on the line for our entertainment. So that's good. Go get as much money as you can. But in terms of legacy and to build a legacy, he destroyed that going to the PFL. Yeah. He destroyed that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. If he fights, he's probably going to do boxing before he even steps in the PFL cage. It's good to have him back, but I'd rather see him in the UFC. And I think Francis Ngannou going to the PFL has destroyed his legacy.
This is the Burn Factory. Priest James.